Today on Time About the Movies, it's basically the equivalent of having surgery. It's going to hurt early on because we're not only covering not only one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, but two of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. The Bounty Hunter, but before that, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And then after that, once you get through the hard part, then comes the recovery. Then comes the stuff where it gets better from there. We get Repo Man with Jude Law and Forrest Whitaker, and then we have Kristen Stewart and Dakota Fanning in The Runaways. Then we have the first part of the Stieg Larsson Go with the Dragon Tattoo trilogy. Go with Dragon Tattoo, obviously. And then last but not least, we have Ben Stiller in Greenberg. So it's going to be rough at first, but we will get through this together. You'll all get through this pretty much fine, but me having to relive the memories of two of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life is... yeah, it's certainly going to be rough. So, March 19th, 2010, Time About the Movies, coming your way next.
Are you sure you don't want me to walk in?
Mom!
Okay.
Mom.
Have a great day, sweetie pie!
Let me just say for the record that middle school is the dumbest idea ever invented.
This place is an intellectual wasteland.
You got kids like me who haven't hit their growth spurt yet, mixed in with gorillas who have to shave twice a day.
Based on the best-selling book.
Don't talk to anyone. Don't look at anyone. Don't sit down.
So not happening.
Who am I kidding? You'll be dead or homeschooled by the end of the year anyway.
Thank you for those words of motivational wisdom.
20th Century Fox presents Greg.
I heard girls say that Bryce Anderson has a cute butt. A butt can't be cute. It's a butt. There's Bryce. Just be cool. Hey, Bryce. Yeah, hey, Bryce. Cute butt.
Rowley.
This one, pre-bird. It was a present from my mom. Well, then your mom is trying to get you killed.
Patty.
Make your move! She's a girl. Where do I grab her?
Sherrod.
Stop! You almost got the cheese touch.
Fregley.
Want to see my secret freckle? Yeah! It's got a hair in it.
Roderick.
Why did I tell you what happened if you ever went in my room again? I'm going to kill you.
Right!
Let go, baby hippo.
Manny. And Coach Malone.
You guys are going to be shirts, and you will be skins.
Why are we skins?
He's just trying to make kids like us feel bad.
What do you mean kids like us?
My name is Valentine Button. What's yours?
Comedy. Hello and welcome to another episode of Time About the Movies. Today we're taking a look at the films of March 19th, 2010, and wouldn't you believe that we have not one, but two of the worst movies that I have ever seen in my entire life to kick this show off. We have our first film right here, number 23 on my list of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Based off, of course, of the children's books of the same name. And to Greg Hefferly, middle school is the dumbest idea ever invented. It's a place rigged with hundreds of social landmines, not the least of which are morons, wedgies, swirlies, bullies, lunchtime banishment to the cafeteria floor, and a festering piece of cheese with nuclear cooties. To survive the never-ending ordeal and attain the recognition and status he feels he so richly deserves, Greg devises an endless series of can't-miss schemes, all of which, of course, go awry. And he gets it all down on paper via a diary. It's not a diary, it's a journal, Greg insists, preferring the less sissified designation, filled with his opinions, thoughts, and tales of family trials and tribulations, and would-be schoolyard triumphs. One day when I'm famous, I'll have better things to do than answer people's stupid questions all day. So was born the Wimpy Kid's diary. Yeah, as you pretty much already know, I've covered this in great detail. I've talked about this one in, no, I don't think I covered this in the top 20, in the worst movies I've seen in the last 20 years, but I have covered this in detail on the top 30 worst movies list. So if you want to hear my full thoughts on that, I'll leave a link to it up in the corner so you can go check that out. But what more do I got to say about this film that I have already said? Like, this movie is terrible. This is a god-awful movie, and I like the books overall. I like the books because I like the cartoon designs. I thought maybe if you made it into an animated movie, this could turn out great, and luckily they did make these into animated movies. They were great animated movies on Disney+. I thought they were a whole lot better than these god-awful live-action movies. you don't like anybody in this movie. You don't like the kid. He has the main kid in here who has the worst luck in the world. His best friend ruins every plan he has. He can't. A girl consistently beats the shit out of him. His brother's a dick. His parents are assholes. I mean, they're basically the stock parents who are just like, oh, we love our son, and we're gonna show that we love him, even though we're gonna embarrass his ass at school all the time. You know, he gets blamed for stuff he doesn't even do. He has to deal with a freaky kid with hair in one of his freckles. And the fact that this movie has the nerve to go to side with everybody but him. No, I'm sorry. He has it right, because everyone around him are just assholes. They're complete and utter assholes. And I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for anybody in this movie. I hated everybody in here. I hate all the characters. I don't like the way the actors are being forced into here. It's a terrible movie. The only person who comes out of this relatively unscathed is Chloe Moretz, who is going to have a really good year, because next month she'll be starring in Kick-Ass, which that'll get to show a lot more of her talents overall. But it's a bad Nickelodeon TV movie blown up for the big screen. I've gone into greater detail about this film in particular, so if you want to hear my thoughts on that, once again, link in the corner, link in the description below. So with that said, let's go ahead and delve into the next movie we have here. Another movie that I've talked in great length about how much I hate it. Gerard Butler and Jennifer Aniston starring in The Bounty Hunter.
You're telling me to go pick up my ex-wife and bring her to jail?
From the director of Hitch.
You're a bounty hunter.
You have got to be kidding me!
You cannot be serious!
I won't even break a sweat.
Keep your enemies close.
There's a black SUV that's been following us. They may want to kill me.
What the hell have you got yourself into?
Now you're interested.
Keep your ex.
You trying to seduce me?
Yeah.
Closer.
That's the hottest thing about me. That would be my gun.
The Bounty Hunter. In theaters March 19th.
Once again, I've kind of touched on this movie in the past already, so if you want to see my full thoughts on this movie and how much I hate this, there's a link in the corner, link down in the description. But The Bounty Hunter. Gerard Butler stars as a struggling bounty hunter, and Jennifer Aniston is his bail-jumping ex-wife. And much to his glee, he gets to go ahead and take her in. And of course, it begins this crazy, wacky adventure where they have to go. She has to take him in, and then there's this big subplot about these guys that are coming after her, and it's a terrible movie. It's a god-awful movie, and it just doesn't work because everybody in, again, kind of like with A Wimpy Kid, everybody in here is so stupid. Even the people I like in here, Gerard Butler and Jennifer Aniston, and the director Andy Tennant, they couldn't save this movie. This whole thing is a colossal clusterfuck. I mean, the script overall is all over the place, and the climax at the end of the movie, the decision he makes at the end of the movie, where he takes her in, but he decides, he loves her so much, he's gonna go punch a cop so he can spend the rest of his life in jail. I'm sorry, but no, I'm not buying into that bullshit. Like, this is a terrible movie. This is a god-awful film. Again, I've gone into greater details about this, so, I mean, I don't want to go ahead and delve into this again, but, hey, if you want to see my thoughts on this movie again, once again, link up there. Link up there. So how about we get to some movies that are not god-awful, or well, at least this first one's not great, but certainly a lot better than the last two films we covered. Let's go ahead and dive into Repo Man.
That's not my department. Their job was to repossess organs. Pretty impressive, boys. Until he needed one. No time at all. You're gonna be back on your game. You're gonna be knocking them down. On March 19th, falling behind on payment. Everyone wants a piece of him. Now he's yours.
What do you want to do?
Finish this. Repo Man. Rated R. Introduced March 19th.
Sadly, this is not the far superior 1984 Alex Cox directed movie starring Emilio Estevez. No. This is another Repo Man. And before I go on here, I said last week on the last episode that Universal didn't have any big successes between Fast and Furious and the last movie they put out, Green Zone. I was incorrect on that. There were a couple of successes in there. Couples Retreat was a big success for them. There was one other movie. I had it now. I can't remember what it was, but there was another movie here. Let me just double check here. Inglourious Bastards was the film I was talking about. So yeah, Inglourious Bastards and Couples Retreat, and it's complicated too. So they had 3 movies that were successes, but then again, 3 movies out of 3 out of 19 movies is definitely not a good score whatsoever, and that's not even the end of it, because, yeah, there's a couple movies we're going to get to in the rest of the year that were not big successes at all. Regardless of how good they were not big successes. But anyway, I wanted to get that cleared out of the way before we get into this. But Repo Man, it's based off the novel The Repossession Mafia, where you follow a Repo Man played by Jude Law, who goes on the run after he becomes the recipient of an artificial heart and finds himself suffering the same fate as his victims. You see Forrest Whitaker as his partner in this, Liev Schreiber, Alice Braga, and Carice Van Houten from Game of Thrones, which coincidentally, the director of this, Miguel Sapochnik, has gone on to become a much more well-known television director than a film director, as he's only directed one movie besides this called Finch, which I've never heard of before, but he's gone on to have much bigger success with Game of Thrones, House, Fringe, a bunch of television shows. You've probably seen his work before, but yeah, as far as this film goes, it has a good idea to it, but it really is a film that's kind of being trying too hard to be the next Total Recall. It's a movie that's kind of like a mix between Total Recall and Equilibrium, and it just doesn't work either way. It takes what could be a really good premise overall and just kind of half-asses it pretty much. There's nothing about the movie that makes it stand out. Even the look of the movie isn't all that great. I mean, it's a film that just looks like a generic futuristic movie. And by the way, the future is 2025, so yeah, 15 years later. Aren't you able to buy an artificial heart? No, you're not. Because once again, nothing like this has happened since then. I mean, there might have been attempts to try to do it, but nothing successful. And just kind of like this movie, nothing successful came from it. It's a pretty lame movie. It's a lousy film. The action's not even that great either. The casting overall is fine, but nothing spectacular. But there's just nothing there, man. It's a boring, bland movie, and it just doesn't work. There's nothing about it that makes it worth it in the end. And you're just sitting there, just like, come on, get on with it or something. Good Lord, you've been holding this off here for so long. It's just like, just do something, like, you know, like Spaceballs, do something, like that. But no, the film never does anything like that. It just goes down a formulaic route, and it ends on just such a whimper of a note. What a lousy movie this is. Repo Man, complete garbage. A film that had so much potential to it, and it just didn't work. So yeah. Repo Man, you're better off not even bothering with it. So, let's finally get to some good stuff, finally. We're starting to slowly but surely make our way to there. And we certainly can say that about our next movie. That is definitely a much better movie than the three that we've already looked at. Kristen Stewart and Dakota Fanning starring in The Runaways.
Rock and roll. There's a first time for everything.
I'm Joan Jett. I want to start an all-girl rock band. You know how many new bands think they're going to make it?
Well, excuse me, but I don't want to work at the Pup and Fries for the rest of my life.
We did it.
We got signed?
Based on a true story.
The Runaways have the most chance of any group I've seen to tear this world apart.
They made history the only way they knew how. On their own. The Runaways, rated R, opens March 19th.
Based off the true story of the Runaways band, it depicts the formation of the band in 1975 and focuses on the relationship between Cherry Curley, played by Dakota Fanning, and Joan Jett, played by Kristen Stewart, until Curry's departure from the band. Of course, Joan Jett went on to become part of rock and roll history, and this is a great movie. This is a film that, you know, I've been talking about. This is a film where you know Kristen Stewart can act. She's actually a good actor, and she definitely proves it in this movie. Yeah, the Twilight movies brought them down big time, and even Dakota Fanning, who is in the Twilight movies, like, it just goes to show you how bad those movies are, because when you see them in other projects, you see that those people from that movie can act and actually can be good. Perfect example here. They're both, Kristen Stewart and Dakota Fanning are both great in this. Michael Shannon has a really good role in here playing Kim Fowley. You also got Riley Keough, Scott Taylor Compton, Alia Shawkat, Keira O'Donnell, Tatum O'Neal. You know, a good cast overall here. A really good, engaging storyline, and, you know, great rock and roll music all around. I mean, this is a great, great movie. It's a really well-made film, a really good biopic. You know, it definitely doesn't go for the safe and marketable way, which is something I've been hating for on a number of years with the music biopics. But here's one where, you know, they go in on it, and it plays it very well. It's a really good movie, very underrated biopic, and one that I highly recommend checking out. The Runaways, definitely one to seek out. So, With that said, let's go ahead and move on to my personal favorite film of the entire week, and that is the first film in Stieg Larsson's Dragon Tattoo trilogy. Here's the one that started it all, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I keep calling it the Dragon Tattoo trilogy, but there's been more of these movies, and more of these books, I should say. So I guess technically it's the Millennium series, if you want to go about down it right. But you have 40 years ago, Harriet Wenger disappeared from a family gathering on the island owned and inhabited by the powerful Wenger clan. Her body was never found, and her beloved uncle is convinced she was murdered, and that the killer is a member of his own tightly knit but dysfunctional family. He employs disgraced investigative reporter Mikael Blomkvist, played by, who plays him here? Michael Nyqvist, and the tattooed and troubled yet resourceful computer hacker Elizabeth Salander, played by Noomi Rapace, to investigate. When the pair link Harriet's disappearance to a number of grotesque murders from almost 40 years ago, they begin to unravel a dark and appalling family history, but the Wengers are a secretive clan, and Blomkvist and Salander are about to find out just how far they are prepared to go to protect themselves. I wasn't really watching a lot of foreign language films at this point in time. The only ones I saw were Pan's Labyrinth and The Orphanage, both great movies, but when I saw how popular this book was, and I knew that they were going to do a remake with David Fincher at the helm of it, I had to see the movie for myself, and I read the book too. I was really invested with this because everyone said the book overall was really good, and I can easily say this is a really damn good adaptation of the book. The people in here play the characters very well. They're well acted. Michael Nyqvist and Noomi Rapace are great in this. The gothic visual look of the film is fantastic, and it follows the book very well. And these films in general, you know, they released all three of them in the course of this year, and they are all really damn good movies, and they're good adaptations of the story. You know, they're good at representations of the book themselves. I mean, these are really good movies and really well made. It's interesting that all three of these movies have already been made at this point when this made it to the U.S., and yet they're all by different directors too. So this is the first one here is directed by Niels Arden Oplev, and I think the next two are directed by. Who's directing the other? Who did the other ones? Now I need to see. Second one's done by Daniel Alfredson, and the third one's also directed by Daniel Alfredson. So, but yeah, this is a really good movie. This is one I highly recommend. It's one of the best movies I saw in 2010. It's a terrific film. I can't recommend it enough. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, great movie. Will later be made into a just as good version by David Fincher the year later, but. This is one I highly recommend checking out. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Easily my favorite film of this whole week. That doesn't mean our last movie's bad either. Ben Stiller starring in Greenberg, directed by Noah Baumbach.
Hey, Greenberg, what are you doing these days?
Right now, I'm really trying to do nothing for a while.
That's brave.
Critics are raving. Youth is wasted on the young. I'd go, life is wasted on people.
Greenberg has a soul, a heart, and a sense of humor.
I'm hearing kind of an ugly growl.
Open place bandage.
It's Ben Stiller like you've never seen him. From the director of The Squid and the Whale.
It's huge. You finally embrace the life you never planned on.
Greenberg, rated R, in theaters Friday.
The story centers around this woman named Florence, played by Greta Gerwig. She's considerate, sweet, pretty, and terrific with kids and dogs. She's 25, a personal assistant to an LA family that's on vacation, and her boss's brother comes in from New York City fresh from a stay in an asylum to take care of the house. He's Roger, played by Ben Stiller. A 40-year-old carpenter gone from LA for 15 years, he arrives, doesn't drive, and needs Florence's help, especially with the family dog. He's also connected with former bandmates, 2 men and 1 woman, with whom he has a history. He overanalyzes, has a short fuse, and doesn't laugh at himself easily. As he navigates past and present, he is his own saboteur. And what of Florence? Is Roger one more responsibility for her, or something else? You know, Stiller and Gerwig are part of a great cast. It also includes Reese Ifans, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Mark Duplass from The League, Merritt Weaver, Chris Messina. This is the first real movie that I saw Brie Larson in. Juno Temple, one of her early film roles. Jake Paltrow, Dave Franco, and of course Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach would later go on to write Barbie. Of course, she would go on to direct Barbie in general, Little Women as well. What was the other one? Lady Bird. These are a lot of good people involved in this movie, and it's a chance for Ben Stiller to show that he's more than just a comedic actor and showing more of what he can do outside the comedy genre. I mean, we're going to see more of that in the years down the road. In fact, by this time tonight, as I'm recording this, I'm going to do, as the Review Network talks about, takes a look at The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, Ben Stiller's directorial effort after I think it was after Tropic Thunder, but I'm going to talk more about that later on. But Ben Stiller has gone on to become a pretty good person and entertainer in general. Not just as a good comedian, but he can also tackle all these different genres. I mean, you see what he can do with the dramatic aspects with the show Severance. He's working on the Twilight Zone movie that they just announced this week, and he did stuff like The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. These movies that don't seem like typical comedies. I mean, he's branching out, and he shows in this movie he's got a lot of what it takes to make it work, and it really does show a lot of what he's capable of doing as a filmmaker and as an actor in here, and he's really good. Everybody in here is really good in this. It's a really good film. It's one I highly recommend checking out. It's a lot of good, mostly benefiting on the performances. Very different performances from a lot of people in here. It's a terrific film. It's one that not a lot of people talk about. It wasn't the big hit when it came out. It kind of came and went, but it is definitely one to seek out and find, especially if you like Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig's other works. This is definitely one you want to check out. Greenberg, can't recommend this one enough. I'm feeling a whole lot better now because we got through the rough stuff. We ended on a good note. And next time we meet on Time About the Movies, it's got to be the best week of the entire year because we've got a lot of really good movies on this show to talk about coming up tomorrow, including, coincidentally, with the live-action remake coming out just a couple of days from now, DreamWorks' How to Train Your Dragon. We have that. We also have really good comedy coming shortly after The Hangover. Hot Tub Time Machine with John Cusack, Clark Duke, Rob Corddry, and Craig Robinson among the cast. We also have Amanda Seyfried, Julianne Moore, and Liam Neeson starring in the drama Chloe. Basically, you get to see one of the mean girls banging Julianne Moore. I mean, that's... we'll delve more into that so I can tell you more about that one. But it's a good movie overall. But we have one of my favorite documentaries of all time coming out this weekend, Waking Sleeping Beauty, about the first Disney Renaissance between 1984 and 1994. And I believe that's it. All of those four movies overall, 4 great films overall. So this is why you do a week like this that starts off on the worst possible note and then follows it up on, and then ending it on a positive note. And you get to a week like this. It's going to be a fantastic, fantastic week of films to talk about. That's coming up tomorrow. Can't wait for that one. Hope you will enjoy it as well. But if you enjoyed this one, you enjoyed my suffering early on, and enjoyed the rest of the reviews I have here, please go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe button, and the notification button. That's where you get updates on when the videos come out. We do post new videos here every day. So... And also, don't forget to hit the playlist as well as the previous episode as well. So, with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.